I'd like to introduce, just for the first time this afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Hobbs. Sorry, it's a bit short, that one. Don't know whether Will was using it earlier. I hope you'll forgive me for doing 2 speeches today. You're going to have to, because it's our day. I will of course say a few words to see if those will be there, but Alice was worried that I'd used my quota of 12 and a half minutes up then, so I'm going to say a few thanks now, if you'll permit me. So please allow me to just thank you all for coming all the way up to Lancaster this weekend. I appreciate that the weather wasn't looking great on Thursday or Friday, but a lot of prayers were said in those days, and God has pulled through, as he always does, so thanks to the big man for that one. But thank you for all coming up. You all mean a huge amount to both of us, and we're so happy to share this day with you. There are a few people that Alice and I would particularly like to thank for the role in today so far. So firstly, a massive thanks goes to Ripley School. I'm sure you all can say it's a wonderful school. Thanks for Darren, the groundsman who's welcomed us and cared for it all. Thank you for the school letting us use this dining room. Particular thanks, though, has to go to the Reverend Adrian Walton, who is the... where is Adrian? Look at that. I just wanted to embarrass you. Adrian has been so kind and accommodating and generous with us and letting us use his chapel, letting us do things here which probably the school wouldn't usually let people do. So thank you, Adrian, sincerely. And thank you for doing the PA in the service. And even when I gave you my phone to play the sound at the end, that was completely my fault. So my bad. Sorry, buddy. Thank you to Bev and the team at Choices Catering. I'm sure you'll all agree it's amazing food. Thank you so much, Bev and Grace and everyone else, for working around all our requirements for the day. And also particularly thanks to the slightly less glamorous team, the set down team, who'll set down later. Thank you for staying afterwards and helping us clean up. If you've forgotten, that's a gentle reminder. You should know who you are. And thank you to all who were involved in the service. Particular thanks to Dad for taking it. You know, growing up there didn't seem to be many perks of having a dad as a vicar. I think this was the one. But to have your father marrying you to the love of your life is a wonderful... Yeah, that's a special thing and you're all jealous now. You wish your dads were vicars. But thank you, Dad, so much for being so efficient and so on it and making it all happen. So thank you. Thank you to the mums for praying, to the readers for reading so clearly, and to the band for playing some fantastic hymns to us. Thanks for putting up with song requests where all 4 songs were more than 100 years old and still making them sound fun and great. And a xylophone, yeah, thanks for sorting that. Thank you to David for playing Alice in and for coming up last night to do the run-through. That is beyond the call of duty, mate, so wherever you are, thank you so much. And particular thanks, I suppose, goes to Will Ruby for giving the address. It was genuinely, it was a big sacrifice for him to take this on. In the same month that he started a new church in Stockport, St Martin's in Stockport. You should look it up and you should go on Sunday. We won't be there, so someone should go. But Will, mate, I don't know where you are, Will. I won't be able to see you anyway. Mate, we're so thankful, so thankful for all the support you and Rachel and the kids actually have been to us over the last 7 or so years we've known you. Thank you for the sacrifice of taking on this job on your 11th wedding anniversary today. I look forward to a lifetime of panicky texts to each other to get the flowers quick. It's your turn to remember for us next year, so I'll do it this year. But mate, thanks for such a wonderful sermon, so faithfully holding forth the truth that me and Alice know and love. Thank you. Before I pass back to Cole to make a couple of announcements, Alice's uncle Mark is going to say a few words as well. So,
all right, thank you.
Mark, you do know that you're doing this.
I do now. Thank you, yes. Okay, thank you, Joe. Well, every family has a crazy uncle, don't they? And in Alice's family, it's my brother, John. And you'll find him wandering around muttering to himself, I'm sure. Now, there's a tradition in Lancashire for monologues. Anyone heard of Stanley Holloway? Right, all the rest of you, can you pray hard, please, because this is going to be quite painful for you, I think. If you have a drink, you'll find this helpful. The stronger the drink is, the more helpful you'll find it during this next act. So please do have your drink tried. Stanley Holloway performed many monologues, wrote many monologues. His most famous one was written by somebody else. And it was called Albert and the Lion. Anyone heard of that? Yes. Oh, great. Prayers are working. That's good. This is based on Albert and the Lion, but it's called Ode to Alice and Joe. Okay. It's not only a tradition in Lancashire, it's also a tradition in my house, which is not saying a lot because I live on my own, but when you hear this, you'll know why I live on my own. Here we go. There's a famous seaside place called Morecambe, where people still go for the sins. But Lancaster's just round the corner, and that's where our story begins. Because it was in this old city one summer, the Gazers were filled with such joy, because Annie gave birth to young Alice, despite praying hard for a boy. But Alice was no disappointment, so none of the family were glum. Because even before her third birthday, she was talking as much as her mum. This girl was a force of nature. We feared that she might come unglued. Because even her powerful mother, compared to her, seemed subdued. But Alice was fairly erratic. And the family knew not what to do. Though slightly misguided, her mother decided to give her an aspirin or two. But this did just not solve the problem. And Annie, she kept on repeating the fact that she must bring this up at the very next PCC meeting. Thank you, Anne. Well, on the said night of the gathering, they sat in their hats and their coats, so Annie explained about Alice, encouraging all to take notes. And everyone listened politely till somebody said, "Let's be clear, she's slightly erratic but not charismatic, so really there's nothing to fear." If you didn't get that one, just pray. Well, the meeting applauded with gusto, and Gusto looked ever so pleased. So they all headed off to the kitchen to enjoy one of Annie's cream teas. But Alice's life was now blooming. At uni and then in her work, she'd truly become a young lady, and proved it by wearing a skirt. She decided she wanted a boyfriend. Somebody just like Uncle Mark. Handsome and modest and balding. There are loads of us in Selly Park. But one thing, then one day at church, Alice spied him, a fella known simply as Joe. As soon as the service was over, he nodded and she said hello. But one thing then led to another as they talked in familiar tones, and she was impressed by the size of his chest and the fact that he'd broken 12 bones. Did I get my research right on that one? I was told you'd broken at least 12 anyway. There we go. Now, Joe, he was the fella for Alice, and he won her heart in a flicker. It wasn't his smile or his consummate style, but the fact that his dad was a vicar. Then one evening, Joe looked at Alice and he knew that he must pop the question, but then as the moment arrived, he was hit with severe indigestion. So looking quite pale, he retreated towards the proverbial loo, and as he departed with Alice downhearted, he heard her resounding, "I do!" Well, it may not have been too romantic. Joe didn't go down on one knee, but he promised to see if his father could marry them quickly for free. So Alice was very excited. After young Joe had proposed, she wanted the wedding to be up in Nedding, but sadly North Wales had closed. So Lancaster was the location, and everyone pulled out the stops, because nothing was deemed too much trouble for Alice and Mr. Joe Hobbs. Well, today we've had such a fine wedding, the best one that we've known for some years. The whole thing has been so emotional, even the cake was in tears. Good, thank you. There. That was the only joke in it, so thank you for appreciating it. Well, now that the monologue's over, hooray! I think it would be just the job if we raised a glass to this lad and this lass, young Alice and Joe Gauger Hobbs. Congratulations! Congratulations. That's it.
Alex wants to keep it. Sue me, I think.
It's an easy act to follow, I think. Fantastic, thanks.
I'm going to warn the fact of better people than you are.
Thank you, Mark, thank you very much. If you'd like to grab some pie, keep eating some tea, there's a guest book that Joe and I would be really grateful if you could sign it, send them some best wishes, and could the extended family and bridal party please head outside for some pictures.